Mykonos is one of the most famous islands in the world, but despite its picture-perfect streets, this iconic destination is home to several traveler pitfalls that can prevent you from maximizing your time here. In this video, we're sharing tips on how to beat the crowds, public transportation hacks, money-saving strategies, and so much more. So hit that like button, and we'll share everything you need to know when planning a trip to Mykonos. Alright, let's start by clearing up one of the most confusing things about the main district of Mykonos. While the world knows this island as Mykonos, with the capital city of Mykonos town, the locals often refer to the capital by a completely different name, Hora. So don't be surprised if you hear these names used interchangeably, as they mean the same thing. Anyways, with that out of the way, there's two main ways you'll arrive in Mykonos. The first is by landing at the Mykonos airport. This small airport is located only 10 minutes from the city center, but it still can be quite challenging to get to town. This is because the island of Mykonos doesn't have enough taxis, so it's common to wait for over an hour for a cab. So if you can, it's best to either pre-arrange transportation directly through your hotel or contact a shuttle company. There's also a bus that runs from the airport to the town, and while the schedule can change without notice, it's another option to consider, though you still may have to walk a long ways to your accommodation. If you're arriving in Mykonos by sea, there's actually two ports you might arrive at, the old port and the new port. Again, since there's only about 30 taxis on the entire island, you're probably going to want to pre-arrange transportation, or take a bus or water bus. The bus to the main town comes frequently and is cash only. We've heard from both ports you can just pay the driver when you board, or you can take the water bus. The water bus is probably the most scenic way to reach the old town, and with frequent departures, it's a fun and affordable way to get to Mykonos. You can purchase water bus tickets from the easily marked booths right at the port.
Despite Mykonos town being sparkling clean and white, unfortunately, its tap water is not clean enough to drink. Because of this, you're going to need to purchase bottled water during your stay. Thankfully, bottled water is reasonably priced in Mykonos, and you'll have no problem finding shops selling bottles of clean drinking water. And while we're talking about water best practices, it's also important to know you aren't able to flush toilet paper anywhere on the island. This is because Mykonos' plumbing system was not designed to handle the vast amount of toilet paper now used on the island. Instead, you'll find small trash cans in all the restrooms, so you can use these to discard your paper.
Chances are you're visiting Mykonos for its brilliant white steps and streets, and while these painted rocks are beautiful, they aren't the easiest for rolling your luggage or hauling them up and down the countless stairs. If you're traveling with lots of luggage, we recommend asking your hotel if they have any advice on how to help you get your luggage to your room, or choosing a hotel closer to a major road so it's less of a walk from your taxi. If you arrive to Mykonos early, before you're able to check into your accommodations, you have options as well. There's a luggage storage spot located right near the pier where you can store your luggage to explore the city bag-free while you await check-in. This is a great option if you're early, or if you only have a single day to explore this magical town. We recently released our top things to do in Mykonos video, so consider subscribing to see that if you want to stay near the action.
When it comes time to choose what area of Mykonos to stay in, you really only have one decision to make. Do I want to stay in Mykonos town or one of the neighboring beach areas? If it's your first time in Mykonos, we'd recommend staying in the charming Mykonos town. This is the part of the island with the famous white streets and endless chapels, and has all the action you'll need for a fun trip. This town has more shops, restaurants, and bars than anywhere else on the island, and really is the spot to be if you want to soak up the ambiance of what makes this island so special. If you really are a beach bum, you can also stay nearby some of the famous beaches around the island. For this, you'll have access to fewer bars and restaurants, and you'll either need to rely on the sometimes tricky public bus system or rent a vehicle. We stayed in the old town in a charming Airbnb, and we just loved this location. And we were still able to catch a bus to the beaches for the days that we wanted to get some sun. So consider what's best for you based on your style. Right, so this is our cute little patio, and then the entrance to our little place in Mykonos. So here you can see pretty much have a full-size kitchen. We have a kettle, coffee pot, stovetop, and a mini fridge, sink, with Michael, and two twin beds, dehumidifier, a nice little closet here, and the bathroom. As you can see, there isn't really a separate shower area, but I think this is the case for most places in Mykonos, and it actually ended up working totally fine. But yeah, this was a really nice place with an amazing location and AC, which is great.
Speaking of getting around town from your accommodations, there are a few different options to navigate this island. One of the most popular ways travelers get around is to rent an ATV on the island. Once you arrive in Mykonos, you'll find plenty of shops offering ATV rentals by the day, but it's recommended to book online in advance if you're visiting during the peak traveler season. And while we've heard this is a fun way to explore Mykonos, it's also much more dangerous, so ride at your own risk. The major pro to renting an ATV is you're able to reach some of the off the beaten path spots and beaches that other travelers aren't. However, it also means you need to rely on your own wheels to get around and to find parking, which can sometimes feel tedious. So be sure to check with your hotel if they allow ATV parking. To rent an ATV, you'll need to have a valid international driver's permit, which you'll need to secure from your home country before visiting. If you're in America, this requires a small payment and a trip to a AAA branch, so make sure you plan ahead. You'll also need to be at least 22 years old and, for many rental companies, over 26. So for the Zoomers out there, consider growing up. If handlebar steering isn't your thing, you can also rent a car, but given the old town of Mykonos is mainly comprised of pedestrian streets, you'll find it difficult to find parking. So talk to your hotel or host before deciding if a rental car is right for you. If you're primarily interested in hopping around Mykonos' picture-perfect beaches, you can also take a daily water taxi. This is a daily ticket that lets you hop on and off small boats that run to and from the major beaches from morning until dusk. You'll just pay the initial captain and cash when you first board, and then you're good to go for exploring 7 different beaches at your own pace. And last but not least, if you're bipedal peasant pedestrians like us, you can always rely on your own 2 legs and catch public buses when you want to leave town. Mykonos' main public bus station is centrally located, and it's easy to catch buses to the major beaches on the island. To buy tickets, you simply queue up at one of the ticket booths near the station and use cash to pay for a round trip. The buses are air-conditioned coach buses and are an easy way to get around the island. When it comes time to return from key spots like busy beaches, be aware that sometimes buses can't accommodate all the passengers, so you should probably arrive at least 10 minutes early to the bus station to ensure you're one of the first people let on.
Mykonos is world-renowned for having one of the prettiest shopping districts out there, and you have tons of options if you're looking to pick up an authentic reminder of your trip. This street is probably the most famous luxury walkway on the island, and you'll find all sorts of designer goods in this area. Even if you aren't into luxury shopping, just walking around and popping into these one-of-a-kind shops is surprisingly entertaining, as this whole area does an amazing job of making the stores almost feel like art exhibits. Anyways, after browsing these more luxe stores, if you're looking for souvenirs that are a bit more friendly to your wallet, we've got you covered. All throughout the main area, you'll find independent shops selling all things Mykonos. If you're looking for t-shirts, mugs, and shot glasses, you'll have no difficulty finding those here. If you're looking for an authentic cultural souvenir, consider purchasing an Evil Eye. You'll find these blue and white glass discs in just about every store, and these are used to protect the wearer from evil eye curses, which are said to cause you misfortune and headaches. And with these being relatively affordable, do you really want to take the risk of going without them?
Greece is world-renowned for their culinary culture, and all throughout Mykonos, you can source traditional and delicious Greek eats. We just released our Mykonos food tour, where we shared some of the most iconic dishes this island's known for, as well as some of the best budget-friendly restaurants and shops to eat at. So make sure you're subscribed so you can check that video out. And while we share all the details on the food and the prices we paid in that video, let's cut to me on site to quickly share another tip on how to save money on food during your time in Mykonos. One of the things that Mykonos is known for is its unbelievably high food prices, and this will become pretty apparent as you start to look at menus around the city. One of the best monies to save here on dining is to actually shop at the grocery stores, just like the one behind me. We just loaded up on some snack food, some wine, and a couple of local delicacies that we found wandering in there, and our whole grocery cart ended up being under €9. So even if you're just getting breakfast or lunch goodies here and then you splurge on your main dinners, this can be a great way to keep costs down while you're traveling in Mykonos. If you're planning on island hopping to the nearby islands during your stay, consider catching a ferry instead of flying. Not only is this way easier than slugging your luggage through the airport, you'll probably save a fortune on baggage fees and have a more scenic arrival by sea. We hopped all around the Greek islands and we'll be releasing similar videos on Paros and Santorini soon, so make sure you're subscribed to see those as well. We're also considering making a complete Greek island ferry guide because we felt this process was slightly confusing and we took some pretty good notes, so let us know in the comments if you find value in that as well. Anyways, another tip is that if you do want to visit some of the main beaches on the island, be prepared that a large chunk of the beach is occupied by paid lounge chairs and umbrellas. While these are great options if you're looking for a luxurious day in the sun, you can usually find free sections of beach the further you walk down the sand. So if you're looking to pinch your pennies like us, don't listen to all the shopkeepers trying to sit you down in one of their paid chairs. Another tip is while most folks recommend traveling during non-peak seasons, truth be told, these islands are always pretty popular, so chances are you'll always find crowds. Honestly, even being crowded, you can still have an amazing time everywhere in Mykonos, and if you just go into it with the attitude that crowds bring a unique energy to this tranquil island, you're going to gonna have a great time. So don't be put off by the fact that you're not the only one wandering around these picture-perfect streets. In fact, if you venture off the main walkways, you'll still find plenty of winding side streets in town where you can get them all to yourself, even in the high tourist seasons. So rest assured, you'll still snap some incredible pictures. Oh, and if you're a cat fan, be sure to bring plenty of hand sanitizer because these furry feline friends are everywhere in Mykonos. Honestly, it's almost like a Where's Waldo trying to find all these little cuties, because it honestly seems like they make exploring these white walls their primary mission. But if you're allergic, consider bringing whatever allergy medication you might be prescribed so they don't impact your stay.
We spent 3 nights in Mykonos in late September and kept a detailed list of our expenses. In total, we spent just north of $475, or roughly $237 per person. While we weren't going crazy at clubs or popping tags at Louis Vuitton, we were still able to eat out, drink wine, and have an awesome time in this budget. So use this as a reference for how much to spend on a similar trip.
So that's it for our Mykonos travel guide, guys. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to see our videos from the Greek islands and all over the world. Next up, we'll be releasing similar videos from the nearby island of Paros, which has way fewer crowds and is still so beautiful. And then we're off to Santorini, which also has so much to do on that incredible island. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.